regular council meeting of March 27th to order. We have no presentations this evening. Could I have a motion, please, to adopt the agenda as presented? Thank you, Councillor Vroba. Seconded by Councillor Moore. Questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under minutes, we've got the minutes of the council meeting held March 13th, 2017. Could I have a motion, please, to accept the council meeting minutes of March 13th? Thank you. Councillor Yanish, seconded by Councillor Hoffert. Any questions on that? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under original communications, delegations, and petitions, we have council appointments. We have a new one with the addition of the ECDEV Development Board. So we've got some new members. We're looking at Jean Benulis, Josh Biggs, Kurt Schmidt, Nathan Wilhelm, Derek Keeler, and David Hammermeister. So we'll need a motion to appoint those following members for a one-year term. Councillor Hopper?
Yeah, I would so move, Your Worship, to appoint those 6 members as mentioned to a one-year term on the ECDEV board.
Okay, thank you. Have we got a seconder? Thank you. And I won't say Councillor Travis, I'll say Councillor Frank. Thank you. Any further questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, we've got a request from the Estevan Exhibition Association Community for a community events permit. The Estevan Midway Beer Gardens will be held in the Estevan Civic Auditorium on Monday, June 19th to Wednesday, June 21st, and that should be 2017, I hope. The permit times will be from 2:30 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. from Laura Monti. So could we have, what's the wish of council on this? Councillor Yanish?
I'll make that a motion that we grant them
the permit. Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Moore, second it. Any further questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under written reports of committees, we have the Estevan Bylaw Enforcement Report for February 2017. Could we have a motion, please, to accept the February 2017 report? Thank you, Councillor Vroba. Seconded. Councillor Yanish, thank you. Any further questions on that? Obviously, Ms. Pickering's been very busy. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under executive reports, we've got the Public Works tender for the 2017 pit run gravel. If there's any further questions, we've got Mr. Mack, our manager, here tonight to answer any questions. We've got a recommendation that the 2017 pit run gravel tender be awarded to Chamney Crushing of Estevan for $10.25 per cubic yard to supply, haul, push, and stockpile 6,500 cubic yards at the City of Estevan Maintenance Yard for a grand total of $66,625. What's the wish of council on this one? Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Your Worship. If I could just ask a question on this. I'm not sure how many loads 6,500 cubic yards would create, but the question is, wonder why we wouldn't do this in the fall and let them haul that through the winter when the roads are frozen and it'd be easier on our streets?
Okay, well, that's a fair question. Mr. Mack?
Councillor Moore, a lot of this has to be mined out of the ground now. It's not stockpiled. It comes from south of Estevan. So it's still within the ground, so it'd be frozen in the winter. So it doesn't come through town, it just comes to the south end of the maintenance yard.
But we could be the messenger to those folks and ask them if they couldn't have that dug out so we could haul it in the wintertime.
Well, perhaps.
Yeah, I just thought easier on our streets if we're hauling it in the middle of the summer. So.
For the most part, we're talking frost though, even if it is stockpiled, but it's something to think about next time. And it only happens every 5 years or so.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't know how much the gravel that is. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Norm, and thank you, Councillor Moore, for that suggestion. So I'm sure Norm will take that into account for the next time. Do we have a motion of acceptance on this?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Moore. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Yanish. Any further questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under executive reports, we've got the report again from Norm Mack on the 3/4 ton 2017 3/4 ton pickup trucks, and the recommendation that the 2017 3/4 ton pickups be awarded to Murray GM of Estevan. Murray GM met all the specifications and criteria outlined in our City of Estevan tender. The winning bid was $35,608.06 per truck before taxes, for a total of $71,216.12 for the 2 units. These 2 3/4 ton pickup trucks will replace aging units in our fleet of trucks. 3 local companies submitted tenders, and Murray GM was the lowest tender. And I imagine that Peterson Concrete should be forward, correct?
Yes.
City Clerk, I imagine that's what it is.
No idea.
Okay, I think that was just a mistake that Peterson Concrete was put in there.
It should be Ford.
It's Murray GM.
Yeah, Murray GM got it, but Senchuk Ford also bid, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, well, someone put Peterson Concrete, so that was Senchuk Ford. Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Your worship, you have an old one.
Oh,
We
okay.
had a new thing sent out today,
Okay, good,
updated.
awesome, thank you. So it is Senchuk Ford. Okey doke. So next, under executive reports, we've got land development building permit report for February 2017.
I just have a question regarding the truck.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I'm just thinking, are we going to put this on hold for now, since we didn't take a vote on it? So I thought maybe we're just going to put it on hold just till we're done budget
The
talks
budget?
later?
Well, I think now it's totally up to council, I guess, if we want to wait and, wait for further budget deliberations, of which we'll have a lot. Councillor Hoffer?
Yeah, Your Worship, I would support tabling it, and not that we won't go ahead with it, and I expect that we would, but I expect that part of our deliberations with regards to the new budget impediments that we were dealt this week will involve a lot of discussion at not only the council level, but also the management team level, and so I would suggest tabling this until a more thorough
Until the next
examination
meeting,
can be
or-
conducted, and until the next meeting.
Okay, you'll make that motion?
I would second that.
Okay, any further questions or comments? What? Yeah.
That's,
Go
I
ahead,
was just going to
Councillor.
ask,
Right.
what I think you two are probably asking here is, is there any penalty for us putting that on hold?
I
Instead
don't
of
think
being
so.
sooner? No? Okay, good.
No? Okay, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, next, as I said, land development permit report for February 2017. Any questions or comments on that, on the building permit? If not, could we have a motion, please, to accept that as presented? Thank you. Councillor Yanish, seconded. Councillor Hoffert, any further questions? All in favor? Carried. Next, under land development, proposed consolidation 2 and 4 Coronation Street. So the city has received a subdivision application to consolidate the 2 lots noted above. Currently, Block B is developed as a single detached house, while Block C is vacant. The owner wishes to consolidate the titles to reduce paperwork and allow for future development on the property, a garage, without crossing property lines. The property is currently zoned residential medium, density R3. The consolidation is required so that no further development on the property will cross any legal property lines. Service and infrastructure, city service connections exist on the property. The proposed development will not require the addition or expansion of water, sanitary, or stormwater. The current developed property is serviced with city utilities. However, no connections were ever installed for the vacant property. The site is located adjacent to the Estevan Trailer Park at the end of Coronation Street. The area is completely residential. It's located next to one of the city's snow dumping areas. The public consultation has taken place. It's also been circulated to all department managers and to all utility companies. Land Development Services has received no objections or negative feedback regarding the development. Recommendations. The proposal will not have any negative impact on the surrounding properties, nor will it affect any city services. It is a recommendation of the Land Development Department to approve the subdivision application. So what's the wish of council on this matter? Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Worship. Just a question. Do we own that piece of property that we use for the snow dump, or have we got an agreement with the owners, or how does that work?
I believe that pathway to the snow dump, city manager, is, Norm, do you know, is that our property, the pathway we use to the dump? That's all city property, is it not?
The roadway?
Yeah, to where we dump,
The snow.
the snow dump, in that area.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, what?
it is our property.
Okay, good. I just didn't want us to get interference there, because that's
Okay.
pretty important to us to have that,
Yeah.
that particular location.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? If not, have we got a
I would
motion?
make the motion that we move ahead, that we okay?
Okay, thank you, Councillor Moore. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Hoffer? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next, we've got from Land Development, proposed subdivision, 1118 2nd Street. Now, this is the Catholic Church adjoining property. The city has received a subdivision application and concept plan for a preliminary review of a senior care housing complex. The proposed subdivision will consolidate the existing parcels into 2 lots, one for the existing church and one for the new proposed senior care housing. A joint use easement will be registered for the existing parking lot used by the church and community center. The proposed use will offer a mix of independent living and long-term care for its residents. The proposal will see the construction of a new 5-story mixed-use building and the renovation of the existing community center, which was the old school. So background discussion, the property is currently zoned residential high density R4. The proposed senior citizen housing is a permitted use in this zone. The proposed site coverage is 34%. This includes the existing building. The maximum site coverage is 50%. The proposed site area is 1.153 hectares. The proposed front yard setback is 4.9 meters. This is in line with the average front yard setback on this block, and the minimum setback of 7.6 meters can be reduced. The proposed building is 5 stories with a height of 20 meters, which is the maximum height. 61 parking stalls, minimum 49, shall be provided on site based on the proposed 62-unit addition. 40 parking stalls shall be provided as surface parking, and 21 will be provided as underground parking. A joint use access easement has been proposed for the shared parking lot between St. John the Baptist Catholic Church and the proposed senior care housing. The proposal complies with all other minimum setbacks from property lines for the R4 zone. A total of 1,453 square meters, 20% of the total site area of landscaped area will be provided. The proposed development will require the construction of 2 new site accesses, one along 11th Ave for surface parking and one along First Street for the underground parking. Servicing and infrastructure, existing service connections are located on the property. 4-inch sanitary service, 6-inch sanitary services, 6-inch water service. However, it will not be sufficient for the proposed use, and Engineering Services has requested a water and wastewater capacity analysis to be conducted and supplied by the applicant. A new stormwater drainage plan will be required for the site. Additionally, the 2 new proposed site accesses, along with 61 proposed parking stalls, will have a significant impact on the traffic volume of 11th Ave and First Street, both of which are local roads. as the proposal is a new subdivision that will have a significant impact on the existing services and infrastructure. An off-site development levy will be applicable to this application as per the bylaw. The development would be subject to a levy of $267,817.69. The applicable rate is $232,279 per net hectare. A servicing agreement may be entered to collect the levy. The proposed development is located in central Estevan and is primarily surrounded by a variety of single and multi-family residential developments. It's directly adjacent to St. John, the Roman Catholic Church. The proposed new building, redeveloped community center, and church will comprise the entire block. The site is located in close proximity to the downtown core 2 blocks away and has direct access to the city park and trail system. The proposal has been circulated to all department managers and to all utility companies. The recommendation is City Council approve the subdivision application on condition that a servicing agreement is entered into to collect the off-site development levies to pay for any improvements required for the water, sanitary, stormwater, and transportation systems. The terms of phasing of these payments may be negotiated between the city and the applicant. Pending the approval of the subdivision, the applicant will be required to submit a development permit with detailed engineered drawings. Okay, what's the wish of council on this one? Councillor Hoffer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thanks for the thorough report by Land Development, and I would recommend approval of the subdivision subject to satisfaction of the recommendations referred to in the report.
Okay, thank you. Have we got a seconder? Thank you. Councillor Frank, any further questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, next from the Water Treatment Plant Manager, we've got the 2016 annual wastewater report. It's quite a lengthy document, but as a permit to operate, it's required that we have an annual report. So this report must contain information about the quality and quantity of water treated and released. It also states how the conditions of the permit were maintained and itemizes any upset conditions as defined in the Environmental Management and Protection Act of 2010. So the highlights are, it was put online January 96. We take the entire wastewater collection flow, process it using a biological process called activated biological nutrient removal / activated sludge process. We discharge the treated effluent into the holding cells over the summer months. Sask Power removes the effluent by pumping it from holding cell J. And it then goes to Shand, where it's used in the power production for cooling. A provincial permit to operate that was put into place November 25th, 2015 requires us to maintain an effluent quality leaving cell J. Highlights of 16 are as follows. New dewatering equipment went online December 16. We purchased 2 new blowers for the plant. They'll be installed this year. Sask Power had some issues that moved the water. They'll need to start pumping here in April. We've had a failed data logger that monitors the flows. We're using a totalizer until a new data collection system is up and running. Even though the wastewater treatment plant effluent quality spiked from time to time, the holding ponds have been able to buffer those spikes, and we've ended up with being within our operating guidelines. The plant has operated relatively well. The Water Security Agency has completed an inspection, and that is attached as well. The wastewater treatment system was designed for a maximum daily flow of 6,000 cubic meters per day. In 2016, we surpassed that flow 12 of 365 days. The volumes treated have increased from 2015, mainly due to the heavy downpours that we experienced last July. The plant operated relatively well. So we thank Kevin and all of the work that him and his people do. So could I have a motion, please, to accept the 2016 annual wastewater report? Thank you, Councillor Broba. Seconded, Councillor Moore. Any further questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. And last but not least, we have from the fire chief, the fire protection agreement with the arm of Benson. And that was the last agreement that we had to do. We've now got all of our agreements updated and signed. And thank you, City Manager, for you, the fire chief, the deputy chief, for getting, having the meetings and getting all of that done. That's good to have behind us. So could we have a motion to accept, please, this fire protection agreement from the RM of Benson, number 35? Thank you, Councillor Frank, seconded by Councillor Yanish. Any further questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, under introduction of bylaws, we have none this evening. Public hearings and reports, we have none. Giving notice. I'd like to give notice today the proclamation, 14th Annual Canadian Oncology Nursing Day, Tuesday, April 4th, 2017, whereas oncology nurses are committed to providing oncology care, whereas oncology nurses have demonstrated excellence in patient care, teaching, research, administration, and education in the field of oncology nursing. Whereas oncology nurses endeavor to educate the public in the prevention and treatment of cancer. Therefore, I, Mayor Roy Ludwig, on behalf of the City of Estevan Council, do hereby proclaim April 4th, 2017 as Canadian Oncology Nursing Day in the City of Estevan, and urge all residents of Estevan to join in observance and participate in activities to recognize the special contribution oncology nurses provide to our public. Go ahead, Councillor Hoffer.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for that proclamation. I just wanted to recognize several oncology nurses that are involved in oncology at St. Joseph's Hospital that provide this in addition to their other duties on a regular basis, and that is Tara Doust, Cindy Ward, Tara Holma, Nadine Lithicum, Tara Shire, Heather Schoenthal, and Colleen Durr. So thank you for the recognition of the profession in general and to these nurses who provide that service to our community on a regular basis.
Okay, thank
And
you
I would
so much for that. And you'll make the motion. Thank you. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Yanish. Thank you, Councillor Yanish. You've been a very busy councillor this evening. I appreciate that. Nobody else is doing it. Exactly. They're getting lazy on us. We'll have to talk to them later. Anyway, any further questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And again, thank you, Councillor Hofford, for the kind words for the nurses. No one works harder than our nurses at St. Joe's. They do a fantastic job. Hats off to them. This evening, motions from committee, we have none. Considerations of bylaws, we have none. Now, we would like to get in a good discussion, I'm sure, tonight, given the fact that we've been downloaded by our province in a fairly large way. I don't know what the wish of council is this evening. I know we've got a lot of information to take in. It's also re-evaluation time, which will go to the 2015 date. So we've got that happening. We've got a lot of information coming our way on that. We are also looking at the 10% increase on the school side. We're looking at the $1 million less that we'll have coming on the levy side, on the levies in lieu on the provincial side. We're looking at, really through no fault of the government, on the grants that we get. We'll be getting $250,000 less that we didn't plan for, but that will be because of our census numbers being down. Did you have anything else to add to that, City Manager?
Nothing much more than that, Your Worship. We did an estimation on what we thought the PST drop might be and the census numbers. Obviously, Estevan grew a little bit, but not in proportion to the rest of the city, so it's one pot of money. So unfortunately, we got reduced in our amount more than we thought we would. So
we've got a lot of issues on our plate. I think, to be fair to council, We'll have to have a lot more discussion on this. If council would like to have some open discussion, I can open the floor on that this evening, or if you'd rather wait, it's totally up to yourselves. I know you have a lot of information to process. What's the wish? Would you like to have some discussion tonight, or would you like to wait until you get more information? Councillor Hoffer?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit preliminary. I think we need a little bit more information. I think we can receive some of that from the city manager. We've got a whole load of it, and we need to process this. I think at the very least, I think we should communicate with the Premier. Your office could communicate with his office of the hardship this is going to put on our city, and though we fully recognize the need for the province to get the debt under control and absolutely support that, this is one issue that's going to seriously impact our city. And so I think, if I might, I would recommend we send a letter in that regard very shortly. And, you know, we've had some discussions with the city manager and yourself trying to completely understand what this means to us. There needs to be discussions with our management team. There needs to be a whole lot of discussion. So I think it would be premature to try and solve this issue tonight.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Hoffert. And you'll make a motion then that we send that letter to the Premier. We'll get that ready
Yes,
and
I
send
will.
that off. Thank you.
So move.
Thank you. Have we, Councillor Frank? Okay, seconded. All in favor? Carried? Okay, and that's a very fair comment. We do have a lot of information to process, and in the intervening open meetings, we'll be having some good discussion on that. And I know this council will be making the tough decisions needed. And Councillor Nibs is with us this evening, but he just had a root canal. His face is froze, so he can't even speak. He's not very good at sign language, so we'll let him off tonight. He's in the crowd, he's here in heart, but unfortunately he can't communicate with us. So we'll open up for inquiries this evening. Councillor Hoffer? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Brogan.
Thank you. Mine is hockey related again, who knew? But basically the Estevan Bruins are moving on, and they're going against North Battleford. And it will be Monday, April 3rd, and Tuesday, April 4th is their next home games. They're on the road first, so everyone should come out and support. They had a very large crowd the last few games, and you know, with the 50-50, I think the one night was $16,000. So come watch the hockey and buy a 50-50 and have fun. Support.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor Vroba, and hopefully everyone can come out in force with their families and give our Bruins the support that they need. Councillor Yanish?
Your Worship, don't we have an application for a street closure too, before you close off? It's in our package. Yeah. It's on the iPad. Page
My iPad went down. It's still not
134.
operating.
Page 134.
Okay, does anyone have an iPad that's working?
Yeah, do you
Can I
wanna
have a
see?
look at?
I want to see if I'm closed.
That's in information for a parade.
Oh, okay, so this is a permit application for a parade for street closure?
That's not a motion for open, that is just information.
Okay, yeah, this is just information that, for the Army cadets, but thank you for that. Thank you, Councillor Yanish. Thank you for bringing that forward. Unfortunately, my iPad, and I guess we probably won't be getting new ones, is down, but
It's 3/4 down.
we'll be using Flintstone tablets, ironed in stone, so I guess we'll have to get used to that. Anyway, thank you. Anything else? Okay. Councillor Frank?
Just, you know, Greg's touched on it and you've touched on it, but I just want to pass along just my sincere disapproval of what's come down on us from the province here with budget cuts. I don't know if everybody saw the news reports you released this weekend or has seen what it's going to do to the cities, but we've worked very hard to come up with a budget balance, or a balanced budget this year, and now that's going to have to be re-looked at again. So,
Thank you, Councillor Travis. Councillor Moore?
Thank you, Worship. I think everything's been said that is important at this time, so we'll have to see what we can do to skinny things down.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be looking at a combination of cuts and other measures. We'll try very hard not to pass on too much of this negative news, but again, I know Council will do the very best they can. City Manager, do you have anything to say? No. Okay. Trudy, City Controller?
No, thank you, Worship.
Okay, Councillor Hofford, you had a comment?
Sorry, Your Worship, as I looked at our camera lady tonight, Roberta, it reminded me of a fundraising event that's happening on April 1st for the Habitat for Humanity. It's a poker tournament, so any interested poker players, I think it's at the Elks on April 1st, so please get registered and support that worthy cause.
Okay, thank you so much. And also, Councillor Hoffert, we have the radiothon, of which you and I are in charge of getting the barbecuers. So we've asked council, hopefully you can be there about 11, and it'll be from about 11 till 1. And hopefully you won't get too smoked out with the barbecuing. If so, we'll have masks in case it gets too bad, but maybe we can have a fan blow it away so it doesn't choke anybody out too bad. Yeah. Okay, anything else, City Clerk? Did I ask you if you had anything to say this evening?
Nothing, Your Worship.
Okay, if not, then Jackie Wall, thank you for coming again this evening. Did you have anything to say this evening? Okay. Okay, could I have a motion then to move into committee, please? Thank you, Councillor Moore. Seconded. Councillor Vroba. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. We stand adjourned. Good evening. Thank you.